Imagine winning enough fights to crash gate and viewership records, but rumors swirl you paid your opponents to go easy on you. That's the case facing Jake Paul, the internet-famous problem child, as he's now under fire for allegedly fixing his bouts. Today we're unpacking the mounting controversies, from UFC stars accusing him of fight rigging to his aggressive legal response today. Since 2021, skeptics have suggested Jake Paul's matches have been more about spectacle than sport. UFC's Paddy Pimblett grilled him after his knockout of Tyron Woodley, suggesting every one of Jake Paul's fights are rigged, and even accusing Paul of using hand signals to coordinate outcomes with opponents. Pimblett's comments stirred broader concern. Later, Paul's camp actually offered Pimblett $1 million to spar in Puerto Rico, calling out the notion that Pimblett wouldn't be rigged and turning it into a challenge to prove it in the ring. Other critics piled on. On social media and forums like Reddit, users claimed even more direct accusations. He would be getting paid to sandbag until round 3 and then take a dive, one post alleged. The allegations expanded from fans to fighters and pundits, with names like Colby Covington and others pointing to dramatic early KOs, namely Nate Robinson, Nate Diaz, as stage theatrics. The November 15, 2024, bout with Mike Tyson escalated the controversy. Paul beat a 58-year-old Tyson via unanimous decision in a fight streamed globally and sanctioned by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations. After the fight, Paul sparked criticism again by saying he wanted to give the fans a show and didn't want to hurt somebody that didn't need to be hurt, giving fuel to the doubters. Boxing legend Oscar de la Hoya didn't mince words. Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record, adding that Tyson was held back in the bout. MVP Promotions, the promotional arm behind Paul, pushed back hard, calling the claims baseless, pointing out the fight was fully regulated under TDLR rules, and stating both fighters in good faith performed to the best of their abilities. Amid the growing controversy, Jake Paul retained high-powered attorney Alex Spiro to go after those floating fight-fixing accusations. Spiro, known for representing Elon Musk, Jay-Z, and other high-profile figures, isn't just a lawyer, he's a legal bulldog with a track record of dismantling defamation cases. This move signaled Paul wasn't going to shrug off the rumors as just internet talk anymore. He was putting money and muscle into protecting his image. One of the most public examples of Paul's legal muscle flexing came against Piers Morgan. Morgan had said on air that Paul's fights were boring staged bull, and hinted that outcomes felt too perfect. But Spiro's involvement changed the tone quickly. In early August 2025, Morgan issued a formal clarification and walked back any suggestion of illegal match fixing, saying he meant the bouts were more entertainment than sport, and that fighters were past their prime, rather than complicit in fraud. Morgan's retraction was a huge PR win for Paul. It wasn't just about clearing the air, it was a public reminder to critics that accusations carry legal weight. Multiple outlets noted that the apology seemed strategic, likely aimed at avoiding a drawn-out, high-cost legal battle. And Morgan wasn't alone in receiving pressure. Reports suggest that Paul's team has sent legal notices to various pundits, YouTubers, and even former fighters who've accused him of paying opponents to take dives. Low Kick MMA summed it up bluntly. Accuse Jake Paul of fixing fights? Better get a lawyer. Spiro's approach appears two-pronged. Publicly demand retractions to protect Paul's reputation, while privately signaling that anyone repeating fight-fixing claims could be pulled into court. This has had a chilling effect on some critics, but it's also sparked new debate. Is Paul defending his name or silencing legitimate criticism? Legal experts point out that proving defamation in cases like this is tricky. Paul would have to show that the accusations were made with actual malice, meaning the accuser knew they were false or recklessly disregarded the truth. Since much of the chatter comes from speculation, edited clips, or social media opinion, lawyers could argue those are just protected opinions. Still, Paul's legal offensive sends a message. While he embraces the problem child persona in the ring, he's not willing to let that label bleed into allegations of criminal activity. And unlike typical influencer drama, this fight is now happening under legal rules, where the stakes include not just reputation, but millions in damages if he wins. Some boxing commentators see it as a calculated move. If Paul wins a major defamation case, It could set a precedent that protects not just him, but the influencer boxing niche from the constant fight-fixing talk. Others think it's risky, because lawsuits invite deeper scrutiny, and if even one credible piece of evidence leaked, it could backfire spectacularly. Either way, Jake Paul has shifted the fight outside the ropes, proving that in 2025, defending your boxing record might require as much legal skill as it does punching power. At its core, these remain allegations, not proven facts. Every bout in question was sanctioned, under strict regulatory oversight, and multiple statements from MVP and legal authorities insist there were no illegal agreements. Still, several factors feed skepticism. The mismatch pattern. Paul often picks older, past-prime opponents. His post-fight comments emphasizing entertainment. Public accusations from credible figures in combat sports. Social media and forums that allege payoffs in staged rounds. On the other hand, there's no concrete evidence, no leaked contracts, no official investigations, and no criminal charges filed. Regulatory bodies like the Texas Commission have repeatedly stated that nothing irregular was found in officiating, judging, or fighter conduct. The blurred line between sport and entertainment is what really fuels the conspiracy theories. Paul himself brands fights as content and promotes them with WWE-style hype, which makes skeptics wonder if the competition itself is secondary. Add in his carefully curated fight history, and it becomes easier for fans to believe manipulation is happening, even if the reality may simply be strategic matchmaking and marketing theatrics. At stake is more than just Paul's reputation. It's the credibility of boxing in the influencer era. If a high-profile athlete mixes entertainment and competition too freely, fans and traditionalists alike start to question the sport's integrity. Paul's legal crackdown might deter some critics, but aggressive litigation also brings more attention to the controversy. Public perception now hinges on whether Paul can convincingly separate showmanship from shady business. There's also a ripple effect on the next wave of influencer boxers. If fans truly believe matches are fixed, then the entire influencer boxing boom could lose credibility and profitability. Sponsors, streaming platforms, and even regulatory bodies might hesitate to back events they feel are closer to scripted entertainment than legitimate sport. For someone like Jake Paul, who built a career on blurring that line, that skepticism could either become his biggest selling point or the very thing that undermines everything he's built. So, are Jake Paul's fights paid-off routines or legitimate matches designed for spectacle? Right now, we don't have proof either way. What we do have is a spectacle brewing outside the ring. Legal threats, apologies, accusations from big names, and fans on edge. One thing's for certain, this saga is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe for more breakdowns on your favorite fighters, and comment below. Are the problem child's bouts real sports or just performance art? I'll see you next time.